It is perverse to start a play made up of kings and cardinals in speaking costumes and intellectuals with embroidered mouths with me. If a king or a cardinal had done the prologue, he'd have had the right material. An intellectual could have shown you enough majestic meanings, colored propositions, and closely woven liturgical stuff to dress the House of Lords. But this? Does this say anything? Is this even a costume? A bit of black material to reduce old Adam to the common man. It barely covers one man's nakedness. If I'd come on naked, I could have shown you something of my own. Something which would have told you without words, something I've forgotten. Old Adam's a bit muffled up. Well, for a proposition of my own, I do need a costume. Matthew, the household steward of Sir Thomas More. All right. A common man, a 16th century butler. All right, that's pretty good. The 16th century is the century of the common man, like all other centuries. And that's my proposition. My master, Sir Thomas More.
The wine, please, Matthew.
Right here, sir.
Is it any good?
Bless you, sir. I have no idea.
Bless you too, Matthew.
But every man has his price.
No.
But yes, in money too.
No.
Or pleasure. Titles, women, bricks and mortar. There's always something.
That's childish.
Master Richard Rich.
Well, in suffering, certainly.
Buy a man with suffering?
Impose suffering and offer him escape.
Oh, Richard, for a moment there I thought you were being profound.
Good evening, Matthew. No, not a bit profound, I'm afraid. It then becomes a purely practical question of how to make one suffer sufficiently.
Ah. And who was it that recommended you to read Signor Machiavelli? No, who?
Master Cromwell.
Ah, Cromwell. Well, he's a very able man.
And so he is.
Yes, I say he is. He's very able.
And he will do something for me, he says.
Richard, I didn't know that you knew him.
Pardon me, Sir Thomas. How much do you know about me?
Only what you've let me know.
I've let you know everything.
Richard, you should go back to Cambridge. You're deteriorating.
Well, I'm not used. Do you know how much I have to show for 7 months' work?
Work?
Work. Waiting's work when you wait as I wait. For 7 months, that's 200 days, I have to show the acquaintance of the cardinal's outer doorman, the indifference of the cardinal's inner doorman, the cardinal's chamberlain's hand in my chest. Oh, and half a good morning delivered at 50 paces by the Duke of Norfolk. Doubtless, he mistook me for someone.
Well, he was very affable at dinner.
Well, everyone's affable here. Also, of course, the friendship of Sir Thomas More. Or should I say, acquaintance?
No, say friendship.
There. A friend of Sir Thomas and still no office? There must be something wrong with him.
Oh, Richard, I thought we said friendship. And the Dean of St. Paul's offers you a post. The house, a servant, and £50 a year.
A post? What post?
Well, at the new school.
A teacher?
Richard, a man should go where he won't be tempted. Look. Come, look at this. See this, Richard? Look.
Beautiful.
Yes, it's Italian. Do you want it?
Why?
No joke. You can keep it or sell it.
Well, Thank you, of course. Thank you.
You'll sell it, won't you?
Well, yes, I will.
And buy what?
Some decent clothes.
Ah.
I want a gown like yours.
Oh. We should get several for that, I would imagine. It was given to me a while ago by a woman from Lincoln. She's since put a lawsuit in the Court of Requests. It's a bride, Richard.
Oh, so you give it away, of course.
Yes.
To me?
Well, I'm not going to keep it, and you have use for it. Of course, if you feel it's been contaminated.
Oh no. I'll risk it.
Yes. Well, Richard, when you're in office, they'll offer you all sorts of bribes. I was once offered a whole village with a mill, a manor house, and goodness knows what else. Coat of arms, I shouldn't be surprised. But, oh, Richard, why not be a teacher? You'd make a fine teacher, perhaps even a great one.
And if I was, who would know it?
You, your students, your friends. God, it's not a very bad public, that. No. And the quiet life.
You say that.
Richard, I was commanded into office. It was inflicted upon me. Is that so difficult to believe?
It's hard.
Be a teacher.
It was magnificent! The Duke of Norfolk, Earl Marshal of England. He swooped from the clouds. Alice!
Here!
Lady Alice, my master's wife.
I tell you, he stooped.
He didn't.
He did.
Couldn't.
He does.
Not possible.
But often.
Never.
Well, damn my soul!
Come down, Margaret.
Lady Margaret, my master's daughter. Lovely. Really lovely.
Matthew, get about your business. We'll settle this, my lord. We'll put it to Thomas. Thomas, no falcon could stoop from a cloud, could it?
Oh, seems very unlikely, my dear. But I have seen falcons do some very splendid things.
But how could he stoop from a cloud? He couldn't see where he was going.
You see, Alice, you're ignorant of the subject. A real falcon don't care where he's going. Thank you, Thomas. Anyways, I'm talking to Meg. It was the very first cast of the day, and from side to side of the valley, over, like the roof of a tent, was solid mist.
Oh, mist?
Well, mist is cloud, isn't it?
No.
Well, the opinion of Aristotle is that mists are an exhalation of the earth.
He stooped from the cloud, like that! Like an act of God, isn't he, Thomas?
Oh, he is tremendous.
Tremendous.
Did he kill the heron?
Oh, the heron was clever. 'Twas a royal stoop, though. If you could ride, Alice, I'd show you.
I can ride, my lord.
No, Alice, you'll make yourself ill.
And I'll bet 30 shillings that I see no falcon stoop from no cloud.
Done.
Alice, you cannot ride with him.
God's body, Thomas. Remember who you are. Am I a city wife?
No, indeed. But you did just lose 30 shillings, though. There are such birds. And the heron made it home to its chicks, so, Meg, everything was satisfactory.
Yes.
What was that you said of Aristotle's, Richard?
Oh, nothing, Sir Thomas. 'Twas out of place.
I've never found much use in Aristotle myself, not practically. Wonderful philosopher, however. Magnificent mind.
Exactly, Your Grace.
Oh?
Richard here has been newly converted to the doctrines of Machiavelli.
Oh, no.
Oh, the Italian. Nasty work from what I hear.
Oh, very practical, Your Grace.
You read it. Wonderful. Magnificent girl, Thomas, but where are you going to find a husband for her?
Where, indeed.
The doctrines of Machiavelli have been largely mistaken, I think. Indeed, properly apprehended, he has no doctrine. Master Cromwell has the sense of it, I think, when he says...
You know Master Cromwell?
Slightly, Your Grace.
The Cardinal's secretary?
Not the cardinal.
That's not possible.
It's a fact.
When, Howard?
2-3 days.
A farrier's son?
Well, the Cardinal's a butcher's son, isn't he?
We'll be up quick and down quick with Master Cromwell.
Did you know this?
No.
Do you like Master Cromwell, Master H?
He'd be the only man in London if he does.
I think I do, Lady Alice.
Oh, good. Well, you don't need my help now.
Sir Thomas, if you only knew how much rather, I'd have yours than his.
Speak of the Cardinal's secretary, and the Cardinal appears. He wants me, now.
At this time of night.
King's business.
The Queen's business.
More than likely, Alice. More than likely.
What time is it?
11 o'clock, sir.
And is there a boat?
Waiting, sir.
Then you'll go to bed. If you'll excuse me, Your Grace. Richard, come.
Go to bed.
Dear Lord, give us rest tonight, or if we must be wakeful, cheerful, careful only for our soul's salvation. For Christ's sake. Amen.
And bless our Lord the King.
And bless our Lord the King.
Amen.
Are you at Richmond, Howard?
No, down the river.
Oh, well then, good night. Oh, Howard. Here's a young man who's desperate for some employment. Something in the clerical line?
Well, if you recommend him.
No, I don't recommend him, but I point him out. He's at the New Inn. Can you take him there?
All right. Come along.
My lord.
We'll hawk at Hounslow, Alice.
Wherever you like.
Sir Thomas. Thank you.
Be a teacher. And Alice, the ground is hard at Hounslow.
That's where the cardinal crushed his bum.
Margaret,
Yes?
go to bed.
It's a gift, Matthew. Sir Thomas gave it to me. He gave it to me.
Well, that's a very nice present, sir.
Yes. Good night, Matthew.
My master's taken quite a liking to you, sir.
Here.
Thank you, sir. My master, Thomas More, will give anything to anyone. Some say that's good, some say that's bad. I say that he can't help it, and that's what's bad. Someday, someone's going to ask him for something he wants to keep, and he'll be out of practice. There has to be something he wants to keep. That's just common sense.
It's 1:30. Where have you been?
It's 1 o'clock, Your Grace. I've been on the river.
Since you seem so violently opposed to the dispatch for Rome, I thought you might like to look it over.
Thank you, Your Grace.
Before it goes.
Your Grace is very kind. Thank you.
Well, what do you think of it?
Seems very well phrased.
The devil it does. And apart from the style, Sir Thomas,
It's addressed to Cardinal Campeggio,
yes,
not to our ambassador.
our ambassador is a ninny.
Your Grace appointed him.
Yes, I need a ninny in Rome, so I can write to Cardinal Campeggio.
It's devious.
It's a devious situation.
It must be something simple in the middle of it.
I believe you believe that. You're a constant regret to me, Thomas. If you could just see the facts flat on with that horrible moral squint of yours, with just a little common sense, you could have been a statesman.
Your Grace flatters me.
Don't frivol. Thomas, are you going to oppose me?
If Your Grace will be specific.
You're a plodder. Take you all together, Thomas. Your scholarship, your experience. What are you? Come here. The king.
Yes.
Where has he been? Do you know?
Your Grace.
Spare me your discretion. He's been to play in the mud again.
Indeed.
Indeed. Are you going to oppose me? He's gone in. All right. We'll plod. King wants a son. What are you going to do about it?
I'm very sure the king needs no advice from me on what he should about it.
Thomas, we're alone. I give you my word, there's no one here.
I didn't suppose there was, Your Grace.
Oh. Sit down! Do you favor a change in dynasty, then? Are 2 tutors not sufficient for you?
God's sake, Your Grace!
Then I repeat, the king needs a son. What are you going to do about it?
I pray for it daily.
God's death, he means it. That thing out there is at least fertile, Thomas.
Yes, but she's not his wife.
Yes, Catherine's his wife, and she's barren as a brick. Are you going to pray for a miracle?
Well, there are precedents.
Yes, all right, fine. Pray, pray by all means. But in addition to prayer, there is effort. My effort is to secure the divorce. Do I have your support or not?
Our king was granted the dispensation to marry Queen Catherine for state reasons. Now we are to ask the Pope to dispense with his dispensation also for state reasons?
I don't like plodding, Sir Thomas. Don't make me plod longer than I have to.
And clearly all we must do is approach his holiness and ask him.
I think we might influence his holiness's decision.
With this?
This and other means.
I've already expressed my opinion on that.
Then good night! Oh, your conscience is your own affair, but you're a statesman. Do you remember the Yorkin Wars?
Very clearly.
Let him die without an heir, and we will have them back again. Let England die without an heir, and the precious peace you value so much will go out like that. England needs an heir. Certain measures, perhaps regrettable, perhaps not.
There is much in the church that needs of reformation, Thomas.
All right, regrettable, but necessary to get us an heir. Now explain to me how you can obstruct these measures for the sake of your own private conscience.
Well, I think that when public officials forsake their own private conscience for the sake of their public duties, they lead their country by a short route to chaos. We shall have my prayers to fall back on.
You'd like that, wouldn't you? Govern this country with your prayers.
Yes, I should.
I'd like to be there when you try. Who will put their neck in this when I am gone? You, Tunstall, Suffolk?
Tunstall for me.
Aye. But for the king, what about my secretary, Master Cromwell?
Cromwell.
You'd rather do it?
Me rather than Cromwell.
Then come down to earth. And bear in mind that until you do, you have an enemy.
Where, Your Grace?
Here, Thomas!
As Your Grace wishes.
As God wills!
Perhaps, Your Grace.
More! You should have been a cleric!
Like yourself, Your Grace?
Vote! 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 Here, sir! A vote, man, please! Vote here, sir! Vote, man! Here, sir! A vote?
Take me home?
That I will, sir. I was just on my way home myself.
Oh, well, then find me another boat.
Bless you, sir. That's all right. I expect you'll make it worth my while.
Boatman, have you a license?
Bless you, sir. Of course I have a license.
Then you know that the fares are fixed. Why? It's Sir Thomas.
Ah, Master Cromwell. You're up very late.
I'm on my way to the Cardinal.
That's right, you are to be felicitated. Well, good morning, Master Secretary.
Yes,
If it is felicity to be busy in the night,
it is.
well, Felicitations, then.
You have just left him, I think.
Yes, I have.
You left him in his laughing mood, I hope.
On the whole, I would say no. Not altogether laughing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm one of your multitudinous admirers, Sir Thomas. A penny halfpenny to Chelsea, Bowman.
The coming men, they say, sir.
Do they? Well, where's your boat?
Just along the wharf, sir.
Sir Thomas More!
Good morning, Senor Chapuis. Oh, you're working very late.
So is the Cardinal, Sir Thomas.
Yes, well, he sleeps very little.
You have just left him, I think.
You are correctly informed, as always, Your Excellency.
I will not ask you the subject of your conversation.
No, of course not.
Sir Thomas, I will be plain with you. Plain, that is, as far as the diplomatic decencies permit. My master Charles, the King of Spain, feels himself concerned in anything concerning his blood relations. He would feel himself insulted by any insult offered to his mother's sister. I refer, of course, to Queen Catherine. The King of Spain would feel himself insulted by any insult offered to Queen Catherine.
Yes, well, his feelings would be natural.
Sir Thomas, may I ask if you and the Cardinal parted, how shall I say, amicably?
Amicably? Yes.
In agreement?
Amicably.
Say no more, Sir Thomas. I understand.
I hope you do, Your Excellency.
You are a good man.
I don't see how you've deduced that from what I've told you.
A nod is as good as a wink to a blind horse. I understand. You are a good man. Dominus vobiscum.
Oh. It's nearly to it.
Some people think boats float on their own, sir, but they don't. They cost money. Take anchor rope, sir. You may not believe me for a little skiff like mine, but it's a penny a fathom. And with a young wife as well.
I'll pay you what I always pay you. The river looks black tonight. They say it's silting up. Is that true?
No, there's a channel in the middle there, growing deeper all the time.
How's your wife?
She's losing her shape, sir.
So are we all.
It's true. It is common.
Well, take me home.
That I will, sir. From Richmond to Chelsea, a penny, a penny. From Chelsea to Richmond, a penny, a penny. From Richmond to Chelsea, it's a quiet flow downstream. From Chelsea to Richmond, it's a hard pull upstream. And it's a penny, halfpenny, either way. Whoever made these regulations has absolutely no idea how to row a boat. Home again.
Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning, sir.
Is Lady Alice in bed?
She is, sir.
Lady Margaret?
No, sir. Master Rope is here.
This hour? Who let him in?
He's a very difficult man to keep out.
Where are they?
Dear Father.
Thank you, Matthew. Good morning, Will. It's a little early for breakfast, isn't it?
I haven't come for breakfast, sir.
Father. Will wants to marry me, Father.
Well, he can't marry you.
Sir Thomas, I'm to be called to the bar.
Congratulations, young Roper.
Sir, my family not be in the palace, but in the city.
Please. The Ropers were advocates when the Moors were still selling pewter. There's nothing wrong with your family. There's nothing wrong with your fortune. There's not much wrong with you, except you need a clock.
I can buy a clock, sir.
Roper, the answer's no, and it will be no so long as you're a heretic.
Now that's a word I don't like, Sir Thomas.
It's not a likable word, it's not a likable thing.
The church is heretical. Dr. Luther has proved that, to my satisfaction.
Luther is an excommunicate.
From a heretical church. Church. It's a shop. Forgiveness by the florin. Job lots now in Germany. And divorces.
Divorces?
Oh, half England's buzzing with that.
Half England? The Inns of Court might be buzzing. England doesn't buzz so easily.
Oh, it will. And is that a church? Is that a cardinal? Is that a pope? Or an antichrist? Look, what I know, I'll say.
You've no sense of the place.
No sense of the time.
Look, Roper, 2 years ago you were a passionate churchman. And now you're a passionate Lutheran. We must just hope that when your head is stopped spinning, your face is to the front again.
Don't lengthen your prayers with me, sir.
Oh, what's one more or less? Is your horse here?
No, I walked.
Oh. Take a horse from the stables and get back home. Go along.
May I come again, sir?
Yes, soon.
Good night, sir.
Father, is that final?
As long as he's a heretic, Meg, that's absolute. He's a nice boy, just terribly strong principles. I thought I told you to go to bed.
Yes. Why?
Because I intended you to go to bed. You're very pensive.
You're very gay. Did the cardinal talk about the divorce?
You know, I think we've been on the wrong track with young William. There's no use arguing with a Roper.
Father, did he?
Old Roper was just the same way. Tell him he was swimming with the current and he'd turn around and start swimming in the opposite direction. Now what we need is a really substantial attack against the church.
We're going to get it, aren't we?
Meg, I'll not have you talk treason or repeating lawyers' gossip. I'm a lawyer myself and I know what it's worth.
Thomas!
Now what have you done?
Young Roper. I've just seen young Roper on my horse.
Calm yourself. He's just been to see Meg.
Oh! Why don't you beat that girl?
Oh, she's full of education. She's full of education, and it's a delicate commodity.
More's the pity.
Yes, but it's there now, and think what it cost.
Oh, Margaret, hot water.
I'm sorry you were wakened, chick.
I wasn't sleeping very deeply. What did the cardinal want, Thomas?
Roper's just asked me for Meg.
Oh, impudence.
Yes, wasn't it?
Old fox. What did he want, Thomas?
Just wanted me to read a dispatch.
Is that all?
It was a Latin dispatch.
Oh. So you don't want to talk about it?
No.
Norfolk was speaking of you as chancellor before he left.
And he's a dangerous friend. Wolsey's chancellor, God help him, and we don't want another one. I don't want this.
Drink it. Great men get colds in the head just the same as commoners.
Oh, that's dangerous leveling talk, Alice. Beware the tower.
Drink it.
I will. I'll drink it in bed.
Well, would you want to be chancellor?
No.
Well, that's what I said, but Norfolk said if Wolsey fell, then...
If Wolsey fell, the splash would swamp a few small boats like ours. There'll be no new chancellors while Wolsey is alive.
Whether we follow a tradition in ascribing Wolsey's death to a broken heart, or accept Professor Larkham's less feeling diagnosis of pulmonary pneumonia, its effective cause was the king's displeasure. He died at Leicester on November 29th, 1530, while on his way to the Tower under charge of high treason. England's next Lord Chancellor was Sir Thomas More, a scholar, and by popular repute, a saint. His scholarships were supported by his writings. Saintliness is a quality less easy to establish. But from his willful indifference to realities which were obvious to quite ordinary contemporaries, it seems all too probable that he had it.
Rich, what brings you to Hampton?
I came with the Duke last night, Master Cromwell. They're hunting again.
It's a kingly pastime, Master Rich. I'm glad you found employment. You're the Duke's new secretary, are you not?
Oh, my work is mostly secretarial, yes.
Or is it his librarian you are?
I do look after His Grace's library, yes.
Oh, well, that's something. And I don't suppose you're bothered much by His Grace in the library. It's odd how differently men's fortunes flow. My late Master Wolsey died in disgrace, and here I am in the king's own service. There you are in a comparative backwater. Yet the new Lord Chancellor is an old friend of yours.
He isn't really my friend.
Oh? I thought he was.
Oh, well, in a sense, he is.
Well, I always understood he set you up in life.
He recommended me to the Duke.
Ah, yes. Are you very attached to His Grace's library, or would you be free to accept an office?
Have you offices in gift?
I am listened to by those who have.
Master Cromwell, what is it that you do for the king?
Yes, Master Cromwell. I should like to know that.
Ah, Senor Chapuis. You've met His Excellency, Rich? The Spanish ambassador. The Duke of Norfolk's librarian.
But how should we introduce you, Master Cromwell, if we had the happiness?
Oh, sly. Do you see how sly he is, Rich? Well, I suppose you could call me the king's ear. It's a useful organ, the ear. But in fact, it's simpler than that. When the king wants something done, I do it.
Ah. But then, why all these justices, chancellors, admirals?
Oh, they are the Constitution, our ancient English Constitution. I merely do things.
For example, Master Cromwell?
Oh, beware these professional diplomats. Well, for example, next week at Deptford, we are launching the Great Harry. 1,000 tons, 4 masts, 66 guns, an overall length of 175 feet. It's expected to be very effective. All this you probably know. However, you may not know that the king himself will guide her down the river. Yes, the king himself will be her pilot. He will have assistance, of course, but he himself will be her pilot. He will have the pilot's whistle upon which he will blow, and he will wear, in every respect, a common pilot's uniform, except for the material, which will be cloth of gold. All these innocent fancies require more preparation than you might suppose, and someone has to do it. In the meantime, I do prepare myself for higher things. I Stock my mind.
Alas, Master Cromwell, don't we all? This ship, for instance, it only has 56 guns, not 66, and only 40 of them heavy. After the launching, I understand, the king will take his barge to Chelsea.
Yes.
To?
Sir Thomas More's.
Will you be there?
Oh no, they'll talk about the divorce. The king will ask him for an answer.
He has given his answer.
The king will ask him for another.
Sir Thomas is a true son of the church.
Sir Thomas is a man.
Isn't that his steward now?
I believe it is. Well, good day, Your Excellency.
Good day, Master Cromwell.
Good day.
Sir Thomas doesn't talk about it. He doesn't talk about it to his wife, sir.
This is worth nothing.
But he doesn't talk about it to his daughter, Lady Margaret.
So?
So he's scared, sir. He's frightened even. Sir, he goes white when it's mentioned.
All right.
Sir?
Are you coming my way, Rich?
No.
I think you should, you know.
I can't tell you anything.
Well?
Sir Thomas rises at 6, sir, and says his prayers for an hour and a half.
Yes?
During Lent, he lived entirely on bread and water.
Yes?
He goes to confession twice a week. Parish priest, a Dominican.
He is a true son of the church.
That he is, sir.
What did Master Cromwell want?
Wanted the same as you, sir.
No man can serve two masters, steward.
I serve only one.
Good, simple man. Here. Peace be with you.
And you as well?
Our Lord watch you.
You too, sir. That is a very religious man.
Matthew, what did Senior Chapuis want?
I have absolutely no idea.
What did you tell him?
I told him that Sir Thomas rises early and says his prayers.
Why that?
Well, that's what he wanted. I could have told him any number of things. That Sir Thomas has rheumatism, prefers red wine to white, is fond of kippers, is afraid of drowning. And that's what he wanted to know, sir.
What did he say?
He said that Sir Thomas was an excellent churchman.
Well, that's true, isn't it?
It is. Oh, and Master Cromwell went that way.
Did I ask you which way Master Cromwell went?
The thing is to not get out of your depth. What I've told them is common knowledge. But now they've given money for it, and everyone wants value for their money. They'll make it a secret to prove they've not been bilked. They'll make it a secret by making it dangerous. Oh, when I can't touch bottom, I'll go deaf, blind, and dumb. And that's more than I earn in a fortnight.
No sign of him, my lord.
God's body, he must be found, Alice!
He must be in the house. He's not in the house, mother. Then he must be in the garden.
He takes things too far, Alice!
Do I not know that?
It will end badly for him!
I know that too. Where's the Thomas?
Where's your master? Oh my God!
Oh, sweet Jesus.
My lady, the king?
Yes, fool! And if the king arrives and the chancellor is not here...
Sir, my lady, it is not my fault.
Lady Alice, Thomas will get no good of it. This is not how Wolsey made himself great!
Thomas has his own way of doing things, my lord.
Yes, Thomas is unique. Chancellor, what sort of fooling is this? Does the king visit you every day?
No, but I go to Vespers most days.
He's here!
Isn't this visit supposed to be a surprise?
For you, yes, but not for him.
Mother!
Yes, do you suppose to meet the king disguised as a parish clerk? A parish clerk, my Lord Chancellor? You dishonor the king and his office.
The service of God is not a dishonor to any office. Believe me, my friend, I do not belittle the honor that His Majesty is doing me. Oh, it's a lovely dress you have on. So's that, Margaret. I'm a doty bird, aren't I? But calm yourselves, calm yourselves. I think we're all ready.
Thomas!
God, you can be harebrained!
Be still, be still.
What whim possessed you?
It was not a whim.
Your second best stockings.
Father.
Stop. No.
Yes. Enough's enough.
Yes, but haven't you done enough? Your Majesty, you do my household more honor than I fear my household can bear.
No courtship, no ceremony. It's a passing fancy. I happen to be on the river. Look, mud.
Well, we do it in better style, Your Majesty, when we come along the road.
Ah, the road. There's the road for me. The river. My river. Ah, by heavens, what a day. Oh, Lady Alice, I fear we come upon you unexpectedly.
No, I mean, that is yes, but we are ready for you. Ready to entertain your grace,
This is my daughter, Your Majesty. She has not yet had the honor of meeting Your Grace.
Why, Margaret, they told me you were a scholar.
Answer, Margaret.
Among women I pass for one, your grace.
Antiquone modo Latine loqueris on octoniensi.
Quam qui pater domine?
Bene, optimus est. Grecamne linguam quoque to docuit.
Graecam me docuit non pater meus, sed mei patris amicus Ioannis Coletus, sancti Pali decanus, in literis Graecis toma non minus quam Latinis asma distribuiter distributis notitia.
Take care, Thomas. Too much learning is weariness of the flesh, and there is never an end to the making of books. Tell me, can you dance too?
Not well, your grace.
Well, I dance superlatively. Now that's a dancer's leg, Margaret. Hey, Howard. Now, that's a wrestler's leg, but I can throw. Shall I show them, Howard? Shall I?
No, your grace.
You are gentle. That is good. You shall read to me. No. You shall read to me. Lady Alice, I fear the river has given me an appetite.
If your grace would share a very simple supper.
It would please me too. Now, I'm something of a scholar too, Margaret. Did you know?
Of course, all the world knows your grace's book asserting the 7 sacraments of the church.
Ah, yes. Well, between ourselves, your father had something of a hand in that. Eh, Thomas?
Here and there, Your Grace, in a minor capacity.
He seeks to shame me with his modesty. You know, on second thought, Lady Alice, Thomas and I will follow. Wait, Margaret, tell me, are you fond of music?
Yes, your grace.
Blow. Blow. Louder. I brought them with me, Lady Alice. Take them in, take them in. Listen to this, Thomas. Tell me, do you know it?
No, Your Grace.
Shh, listen, man, listen. I launched a ship today, Thomas.
Yes, Your Grace.
Listen. The Great Harry. I steered her under sail.
Your Grace has many accomplishments.
A great experience, Thomas. A great experience.
Your Grace.
But I'm a fool, Thomas.
How so, Your Grace?
To live in a court. A licentious mob. When I have friends with gardens.
Your Grace,
no courtship, no ceremony. Be seated. You are my friend, are you not?
Your Majesty.
And readier to be friends, I trust, than to be chancellor.
Well, my knowledge of my own poor abilities.
I'll be judge of your abilities.
Did you know Wolsey named you for Chancellor?
Wolsey?
Aye, before he died, Wolsey named you for Chancellor, and Wolsey was no fool.
He was a statesman of incomparable ability, Your Majesty.
Was he? Was he so? Then why did he fail me? It was villainy then! Yes! Villainy! And he failed me! I was right to break him, Thomas. He was a proud man. All pride. Pride right through. And he failed me. And why? Because he wanted to be Pope. He wanted to be the Bishop of Rome. And he failed me in the thing that mattered most. In the thing that matters most. Then or now. And he failed me. And I'll tell you something, Thomas. You can check this for yourself. Things were never merry in England while we had cardinals amongst us. Look now, I shall forget the feeling of that great tiller under my hands. I took her down to Dodgett's Bank and brought her up by Tilbury Roads. A man can sail clean around the world in that ship.
Some men could, Your Grace.
Yes, touching this matter of my divorce, have you thought about it any since we last spoke?
Of little else.
Then you see your way clear to me.
That you should put away Queen Catherine, sire? Alas, as I think of it, I can see so clearly that I cannot come with your grace that my endeavor is not to think of it at all.
Father, you've not done enough, Thomas! Great God! Why do you hold out against me in the desire of my heart? The very wick of my heart.
There's my arm. There it is. Take your dagger from your belt and saw it from my shoulder, and I will laugh and be thankful if by this means I can come with your grace with a clear conscience.
I know, Thomas, I know.
I crave pardon if I have offended.
Speak then.
When I took the Great Seal, Your Majesty promised me that I would not be pursued in this matter.
Aha, so then I break my promise, master. No, I'm joking. I joke roughly. Sometimes I think I'm a rough fellow. Yes, a rough, young fellow. It's a rosebud. We've one just like it down at Hampton. Not quite so red as that, though. I'm in an excellent frame of mind. Beautiful. You must consider, Thomas, I stand in peril of my soul. It was no marriage. She was my brother's wife. Leviticus, thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. Chapter 18, verse 16.
Yes, Your Majesty, but Deuteronomy...
Deuteronomy is ambiguous.
I'm not fit to meddle in these matters. For me, it seems a matter for the Holy See.
Thomas. Does a man need a pope to tell him when he's sinned? It was sin. I admit it. And I repent. God has punished me. I have no son. Son after son, she's born to me, all dead or dead within the month. I never saw the hand of God so clear in anything. I have a daughter. She's a good child, a well-set child. But I have no son. It is my bounden duty to put away the queen. Oh, Pope's back to St. Peter shall not come between me and my duty. Why is it that you cannot see? Everyone else does.
Then why does your grace need my poor support?
Because you're honest, Thomas. And what's more to the point, you're known to be honest. There are those like Norfolk who follow me because I wear the crown. And there are those like Master Cromwell who follow me because they are jackals with sharp teeth and I am their lion. And then there are those that follow me because they follow anything that moves. And then there's you.
I'm sick to think how much I must displease your grace.
No, man, I respect your sincerity. Respect? Oh, man, it's water in the desert. The music, our music they played, the air had a certain... Well, tell me what you thought of it.
Could it have been your grace's own?
Ah, discovered! And now I'll never know your true opinion, Thomas, and that's irksome. For we artists, though we love praise, yet we love truth more.
Well, then, I will tell your majesty truly what I thought of it.
Speak, then.
Well, to me, it seemed delightful.
Thomas, I chose the right man for chancellor.
I must, in fairness, admit that my taste in music is reputedly deplorable.
Ah, Thomas, your taste in music is excellent. It coincides precisely with my own. Music, music! Send them away without me, Thomas. I will live here in Chelsea and make music.
My house is at your grace's disposal.
No, you understand me. We will stay here together and make music.
Will your grace honor my roof after dinner?
Yes, I expect I'll bellow for you.
Well, my wife will be all the
Yes. Touching this other business, Thomas, mark you, I'll have no opposition.
Your grace.
No opposition! I say no opposition! Your conscience is your own affair, but you are my chancellor. I see how it will be. The bishops will oppose me, the full-fed, hypocritical princes of Rome. And as for the Pope, am I to burn in hell because the Bishop of Rome mouths me Deuteronomy with the King of Spain's knife to his throat? Hypocrites! They're all hypocrites! Mind they don't take you in, Thomas. Lay low if you can. But I'll brook no opposition, no words, no signs, no pamphlets, no letters, no writings against me.
Your grace is unjust. I am your grace's loyal servant. And if I cannot serve your grace in this great matter of the queen...
I have no queen! Catherine is not my wife! No priest can make her so, and those that say she is are not only liars, but traitors. Mind it, Thomas.
Am I a babbler, your grace?
You are stubborn. Oh, if you would come with me, you are the man that I'd soonest raise, yes, with my own hand.
Your grace overwhelms me.
What's that?
It's 8 o'clock, your grace.
Rise up, man. I have promised, have I not? Shall we eat?
If your grace wishes. What will you play for us?
8 o'clock, you said. The tide will be changing. I was forgetting the tide. I'd better go.
Oh, I'm sorry, your majesty.
I'm not be getting back to Richmond till... No. I'd better go. Don't come. Tell Norfolk. Oh, Lady Alice, I must go. I admit I have forgotten in your haven here how time flows past outside. Affairs call me to court, and so I give you my thanks, and I say good night.
What's this? You crossed him.
Somewhat.
Why?
I couldn't find the other way.
Oh, you're too nice altogether, Thomas.
Woman, mind your house!
I am minding my house.
What would you have me do?
Be ruled. If you won't rule him, be ruled.
I neither could nor would rule my king. But there's a little space where I must rule myself. It's small, smaller to him than the size of a tennis court. It was 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, Lady Anne likes to dance.
Oh, is that all?
Yes, I think so.
And you stand between them?
What stands between them is a sacrament of the church. I'm not as important as you think.
Thomas, stay friends with him.
Whatever may be done by smiling, you may rely on me to do.
You don't know how to flatter.
I flatter very well. My reputation is preceding me. I have a recipe for it that's being widely copied. It's just the basic syrup with the soupçon of discreet impudence.
I wish you'd eaten here.
Yes, well, we'll be dining on that simple supper of yours for the next fortnight. Well, Alice, calm yourself, Alice. This is not the stuff of which martyrs are made.
Sir Thomas.
Oh, no.
What do you want?
William, I told you not to.
I'm not easily told, Meg.
I asked you not to.
Meg, I'm full to hear.
It's not convenient.
Must everything be made convenient? I'm not a convenient man, Meg. I have an inconvenient conscience.
Joshua's trumpet. One note on that brass conscience of yours, and my daughter's walls are down.
You raised her, sir.
How long have you been here? Did you come in the king's party?
I am not in the king's party. It's of that I wish to speak with you. My spirit is perturbed.
Is it, Will? Well, why?
I've been offered a seat on the next Parliament. Ought I to take it?
No. Well, it depends. I should have thought with your opinions on church reformation, you could have done a lot of good for yourself in the next Parliament.
My views on the church, I must confess, since we last spoke, my views have somewhat modified. I modify nothing concerning the body of the church. The money changer in the temple must be scourged from thence, with a scourge of fire if necessary. But an attack on the church herself, no. Behind that, I see an attack on God.
Roper.
The devil's work.
Roper.
To be done by the devil's ministers.
For heaven's sake, Roper, remember my office.
Oh, if you stand on your office.
I stand on nothing, but there are certain things that I cannot hear.
Sophistication is as I was told. The court has corrupted you, Sir Thomas. You have learned to study your convenience. You have learned to flatter.
There, Alice, you see, I have a reputation for it.
God's body, young man, if I were the Chancellor, I'd have you whipped!
Sir Thomas, Master Rich is here.
Oh.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, Lady Alice, Lady Margaret.
Good evening, Master Rich.
Do you know Will Roper the Younger?
Oh, by reputation, of course.
Master...
Rich.
Oh.
You have heard of me?
Yes.
In what connection? I can't imagine what you could have heard. I sense that I'm not welcome here.
Well, Richard, have you done something that should make you unwelcome?
Why? Do you suspect me of it?
I shall begin to.
Cromwell is asking questions about you. About you, in particular. He's constantly collecting information. About you.
Don't I know it? Stay one moment, Matthew.
That's one of his sources!
Yes, it's one of my servants. Thank you, Matthew.
Senor Chapuis, the Spanish ambassador.
Well, he collects information too. That's one of his functions.
You look at me as though I'm an enemy.
Richard, you're shaking.
I'm adrift. Help me.
How?
Employ me.
No.
Employ me.
No.
I would be steadfast.
Richard, you couldn't even answer for yourself, even insofar as tonight.
Arrest him!
For what?
He's dangerous!
For libel! He's a spy!
Yes, he is! Arrest him!
Father, that man is bad.
Well, there's no law against that.
There is! God's law!
Well, then God can arrest him.
Sophistication upon sophistication.
No, Roper, sheer simplicity. The law. I know what's legal, not what's right, and I'll stick to what's legal.
Then you put man's law above God's.
No, far below it. But allow me to direct your attention to a fact. I am not God. The currents and eddies of what's right and wrong, in which you find such clear sailing, I cannot navigate. I'm not a voyager. But in the thickets of the law, there I am a forester.
While you talk, he's gone.
And go he should, if he were the devil himself until he broke the law.
Then you give the devil the benefit of the law.
Yes, what would you do? Cut a great road through the law to get after the devil?
I'd cut down every law in England to do that.
Oh. And when the last law was down and the devil turned round on you, where would you hide, Roper? The laws all being flat. This country is planted thick with laws from coast to coast. Man's laws, not God's. And if you cut them down, and you're just the man to do it, do you really think that you could stand upright in the winds that would blow then? Yes, I'd give the devil the benefit of law for my own safety's sake.
I have long suspected this. This is the golden calf. The law is your God.
Roper, you're a fool. God is my God. but I find him altogether too subtle. I neither know where he is nor what he wants.
My God wants service, to the end, unremitting, and nothing else.
Are you sure that's God? It does sound like Moloch. But, yes, it very well might be God. But whoever hunts for me, God or devil, will find me hiding in the thickets of the law. And I'll hide my daughter there with me too. And I won't hoist her up into the mainmast of your sea-going principles. They put out too nimbly.
Oh, that was harsh.
What's happened here?
He can't abide a fool, that's all. Be off.
Hide you? From what?
He said nothing about hiding me, you noticed. I've got too fat to hide us both.
Mother, you know he meant us both.
But from what?
I don't know! I don't know if he knows. He said not one simple, direct word since this divorce came up. It's not God who's gotten subtle, it's him.
Roper, that was too harsh. Your principles are excellent. The very best quality. No, I mean it. Your principles are fine. Now, really, we must make a start on all that food.
Father, can't you be plain with us?
I stand on the wrong side of no statute and no common law. I have not disobeyed my sovereign. I truly believe that there is not a man in England who is as safe as I am. And I want my supper. We will need your help, Will. There's a fine bottle of brandy up there, if your principles will permit.
They don't, sir.
Well, have some water in it then.
Just the water.
Oh, poor boy.
Why does Cromwell collect information about you?
I'm a public figure. Someone somewhere collects information about Cromwell. Now, enough shirking. There's a stuffed goose up there, if you please. Well, I would trust you with my life, but not your principles. Look, we talk about being anchored to our principles. But if the weather up and turns nasty, you pick up your anchor and sail somewhere where there are clearer skies and better fishing. And then you put your anchor down, and then you say, look, I am now anchored to my principles.
The loyal subject. A pub. A publican. Oh, that's a deep one, that Sir Thomas. Deep. Takes a lot of education to get a man as deep as that. And a deep nature to begin with, too. The likes of me can never hope to understand the processes of a man like that. Can we? Right. Ready, sir?
Is this a good place for a conspiracy, innkeeper?
You asked for a private room, sir?
Yes. I want one without too many dark little corners.
I don't understand, sir. It's just the four corners you see here.
You don't understand me.
I do not, sir.
Do you know who I am?
No.
Don't be too tactful, innkeeper.
I don't understand.
When the likes of you are too tactful, the likes of me begin to wonder who's the fool.
I simply don't understand, sir.
The master statesman of us all. I don't understand. Get out. Come on. Yes, it may be that I am a little intoxicated, but not with alcohol. I have a strong head for that. With success. And who has a strong head for success? None of us gets enough. Except kings. And they're born drunk.
Success. What success?
Guess.
Collector of revenues for York.
You do keep an ear to the ground, don't you? No.
What then?
Sir Thomas Paget is retiring.
Secretary to the council?
'Tis astonishing, isn't it?
Oh no, I mean, one sees... It's logical.
No ceremony, no courtship. Sit down. As His Majesty would say. Yes, see how I trust you.
Yeah, I would never repeat or report a thing like that.
What kind of thing would you repeat or report?
Well, nothing said in friendship. May I say friendship?
If you like. Do you believe that? That you would never repeat or report anything, etc.?
Yes.
No, but seriously.
Why, yes.
Rich. Seriously?
It would depend what I was offered.
Don't say it just to please me.
It's true. It would depend what I was offered.
Everyone knows it. Not many people can say it. Now, that idea that there's some things that one wouldn't do for nothing, that idea is like these lifelines they have on the embankment. Comforting, but you don't expect to have to use it. Well, congratulations.
On what?
I think you'd make a good collector of revenues for York Diocese.
Is it in your gift?
It will be.
What do I have to do for it?
Nothing. It's not like that, Rich, with rewards and penalties. So much wickedness purchases so much worldly prospering. Are you sure you're not religious?
Almost sure.
Get sure. No, it's not like that, Rich. It's much more a matter of convenience, administrative convenience. Now, normally, the aim of administration is to keep steady this constant factor of convenience. And Sir Thomas would agree. Now, normally, when a man wants to change his woman, you let him if it's convenient, and you prevent him if it's not. Normally, indeed, it's of so little importance you leave it to the priests. But there remains this constant factor of convenience.
Whose convenience?
Oh, ours, but everybody's too. However, in the present instance, the man who wants to change his woman is our sovereign Lord Harry, by the grace of God, the 8th of that name. Which is a quaint way of saying, if he wants to change his woman, he will. And that becomes the constant factor. And our jobs as administrators is to make it as convenient as we can. I say our job on the assumption you'll accept this post at York I've offered you.
Yes.
It's a bad sign when people are depressed by their own good fortune.
I'm not depressed.
You look depressed.
I'm lamenting. I've lost my innocence.
You lost that some time ago. If you've only just noticed, it can't have been that important to you.
That's true. That's true. It can't.
We experience a sense of release, do we, Master Rich? An unfamiliar freshness in the head, as of open air.
Collector of revenues for York isn't bad.
Not bad for a start. Now our present Lord Chancellor. There's an innocent man.
The odd thing is, he is.
Yes, I say he is. The trouble is, his innocence is tangled in this proposition that you can't change your woman unless the Pope says so. And even though our present holiness is, judged even by the most liberal standards, a strikingly corrupt old person, he still has this word Pope attached to it. And I fear from this somewhat meaningless circumstance, some degree of
Administrative inconvenience?
just so. This silver goblet he gave you, how much was it worth? Oh, come along, Ridge. He gave you a silver goblet. How much did you get for it?
50 shillings.
Could you take me to the shop?
Yes.
Where did he get it? It was a gift from a litigant. A woman, wasn't it?
Yes.
In which court? Chancery? No, don't get drunk. In which court was this litigant's case?
Court of Requests.
There. That wasn't too painful, was it?
No.
That's all there is to it. And you'll find it easier next time.
What application do they have, these tidbits of information you collect?
None at all, usually.
But sometimes.
Well, there are these men, you know, upright, steadfast men who want themselves to be the constant factor in the situation. Which, of course, they can't be. The situation rolls forward in any case.
So what happens?
If they've any sense, they get out of the way.
What if they haven't any sense?
What, none at all? Why, then they're only fit for heaven. But Sir Thomas has plenty of sense. He could be frightened.
Don't forget, he's an innocent, Pastor Cromwell.
I think we'll finish there for tonight. After all, he is the Lord Chancellor.
You wouldn't find him easy to frighten. He doesn't know how to be frightened. You've mistaken your man this time.
Doesn't know how to be frightened? Well, he never stuck his hand in a candle, did he?
No! You enjoyed that. You enjoyed that.
The interval started in the early year of 1530. It is now the middle of May 1532. 2 years. A lot of water has come under the bridge. And one of the things that has come floating along it is the Church of England, that finest flower of our island genius for compromise. That system, peculiar to these shores, the despair of foreign observers, which deflects the torrents of religious passion down the canals of moderation. That's very well put. Typically, this great effect was achieved not by bloodshed, but by a simple act of parliament. Only an unhappy few were forced to set themselves against the current of their times, and in so doing to court disaster. For we are dealing with an age less fastidious than our own. Imprisonment without trial, and even examination under torture, were common practice.
Oh, Will, must you wear those clothes?
Yes, I must.
Why?
The time has come for decent men to declare their allegiance.
What allegiance would those be designed to express?
My allegiance to the church.
Well, you look like a Spaniard.
All credit to Spain, then.
You wouldn't have lasted 6 months in Spain. They would have burned you alive during your heretic period.
I suppose you have the right to remind me of it. That chain of office you wear is a degradation.
I told you, if the bishops in convocation submit this morning, I'll take it off. And it's not a degradation. Great men have worn this chain.
When do you expect to hear from the bishops?
About now. I was promised an immediate response.
I don't see what difference convocation can make. The church is already a wing of the palace, is it not? The king is already its supreme head, is he not?
No.
You are denying the act of supremacy.
I am not. The act states that the king
Is the supreme head of the church in England.
Supreme head of the church in England insofar as the law of God allows. And how far the law of God allows it is a matter of opinion, because the act does not state it.
A legal quibble.
Call it what you like, it's there. Thank God.
Very well. In your opinion, how far does the law of God allow?
Keep my opinion to myself.
Yes, I'll tell you mine.
Don't. Will, if your opinion's what I think it is, it's treason. You remember that you have a wife now and might have children?
Why must he remember that?
To keep myself discreet.
Well, then I'd rather you forgot it.
You are either children or idiots.
Thanks, my lord.
Oh, Father, Senor Chapuis has come to see you.
Or saints, my lord. Or saints.
Of course! Saints! That's it! Will, turn your head a little. Yes, I think I do detect a slight radiance. Will, you should have told us.
Come, my lord. You too, at this time, are not free from some suspicion of saintliness.
I don't like the sound of that, Your Excellency. What do you require of me? No, what?
May I not come simply to pay my respects to the English Socrates, as I see your angelic friend Erasmus calls you?
Yes, well, I'll have to think of something presently to call Erasmus. But Socrates, I have no taste for hemlock if that's what you require of me, Your Excellency.
Heaven forbid!
Amen.
Must I require anything? After all, we are brothers in Christ, you and I.
Yes, a characteristic which we share with the rest of humanity, Your Excellency. You live in Cheapside. In order to come in contact with another brother in Christ, you need only open a window and empty a chamber pot. You did not have to come all the way to Chelsea. Well, the Spanish ambassador is here on business. Would you mind?
No, I protest.
He's clearly here on business.
No, but really, I protest. Dominus vobiscum, filii mei.
Et cum spiritu tuo, excellencies.
And how much longer shall we hear that holy language in these chambers?
It isn't holy, it's just old.
My lord, I cannot believe you will allow yourself to be associated with the recent actions of King Henry in respect of Queen Catherine.
Subjects are associated with the actions of their king willy-nilly.
The Lord Chancellor is no ordinary subject, and he bears responsibility for what is done.
Yes, but have you considered that what was done poorly might have been done worse given a different chancellor?
Believe me, my lord, your influence in these policies has been much searched for, and where it has been found, it has been praised. But there comes a point, does there not?
There does indeed come a point.
When the sufferings of one unfortunate lady swell to an open attack on the religion of an entire country, that point has been passed. Beyond that point, Sir Thomas, one is not merely compromised. One is in truth corrupted.
What do you want?
Rumor has it that if the church in convocation has submitted to the king, you will resign.
And if, supposing that rumor to be accurate, would you approve?
Approve. Applaud. Admire. Why? Because it would show one man, and that man known to be temperate, unable to go further with his wickedness.
And that man known to be the Chancellor of England.
Believe me, my lord, such a signal would be...
A signal?
Yes, it would be seen and understood.
By whom?
Half of your fellow countrymen. Sir Thomas, I have just returned from a trip to Yorkshire and Northumberland, where I have made a tour.
Have you indeed?
Things are very different there, my lord. There, they are ready.
Ready for what?
Resistance.
Resistance by what means? Resistance by force of arms?
St. Paul adjures us to don the arms of God when the occasion warrants.
Metaphorical arms. The breastplate of righteousness, the helmet of salvation. Are you talking about a metaphorical resistance?
He shall flee the iron weapons, and the bow of steel shall strike him through.
Sir Thomas! Excuse me, sir. Sir Thomas, His Grace, the Duke of Norfolk, it's all over, sir.
One moment, Roper. I'll do this. Thomas.
Oh, excuse me, my lord. I was just on the point of leaving. Just a personal call. I have been trying to borrow a book, but without success. You're sure you have no copy, my lord? Then I'll leave you. Gentlemen, ladies.
Sir Thomas.
I'll do it, Roper. Convocation's knuckled under, Thomas. They're to pay a fee of £100,000. And we've severed the connection with Rome.
The connection with Rome. Oh, that's nice. Connection with Rome.
This is quite certain, is it?
Yes. Funny company, Thomas?
It's quite unintentional. He doesn't mean to be funny. Will you help me with this?
Not I.
Shall I, sir?
No. Thank you. Alice?
Hell's fire, God's body and blood, no! Sun and moon, Master Moore, you're taken for a wise man. Is this wisdom to betray your ability, abandon practice, forget your station and your duty to your kin, and behave like a printed book?
Meg, will you?
If you want.
There's my clever girl.
Well, Thomas, why? Make me understand, because I'll tell you now, from where I stand, this looks like cowardice.
Fine, I will. This isn't reform, this is war. Our king has declared war on the Pope because he will not declare that Queen Catherine is not his wife.
And is she?
I'll answer that question for one person, the king. Aye, and in private too.
You're cautious.
Yes, cautious. I'm not one of your hawks.
All right, we're at war with the Pope. The Pope's a prince, isn't he?
Yes.
And a bad one?
Bad enough. But the theory is he's also the descendant of St. Peter, the vicar of God, and our one remaining link with Christ.
A tenuous link.
Tenuous, indeed.
Well, does this make any sense? You'll sacrifice all that you have, which includes the respect of your country, for a theory?
The apostolic succession of the Pope is... Yes, it's a theory. In fact, you can't see it, you can't touch it. It doesn't matter so much to me if it's true or not, but that I believe it to be true. Or no, not that I believe it to be true, but rather that I believe it to be true. I trust I make myself obscure.
Perfectly.
Good. Good. Obscurity is what I have need of now.
Thomas, this isn't Spain, you know.
Do I have your word that what passes here between us will have no existence outside these walls?
Very well.
And if the king should call upon you and command you to repeat what I have said?
I should keep my word to you.
Then what has become of your oath of obedience to the king?
You lay traps From me?
No. I just show you the times.
Why do you insult me with these lawyer's tricks?
Because I am afraid.
Well, here's for your fear. The king accepts your resignation very sadly. He is mindful of your goodness and past loyalty. He will be your good lord in any matter concerning your wellness and honor.
You will convey my humble gratitude.
I will. Good day, Alice. I'd rather deal with you than your husband.
Howard. The Spanish ambassador has told me that he's made a trip of the North Country, and, well, he thinks that we'll have trouble there soon. So do I.
Yes? What kind of trouble?
Well, the church, the old church, not the new church, it's very strong there. I'm serious. You have to keep an eye on the border this coming spring. And remember, there are old alliances.
We will. We do. As for the Spaniard, it will perhaps ease your mind to know that one of Cromwell's agents made the tour with him.
Yes, well, if Cromwell's got everything in hand.
He does.
Yes, I can imagine.
But, thank you for the information. It's good to know you still have some vestige of patriotism in you.
That is a remarkably stupid observation, Howard.
So, there's an end of you. What will you do now? Sit by the fire and make goslings of ash?
No. I expect I'll write. Yes. I'll write, I'll read, I'll think. I think I'll learn how to fish. I'll play with my grandchildren when son Roper here has done his duty. Alice, shall I teach you how to read?
Oh, God, no.
Roper, I imagine you're very pleased with me?
Sir, you've made a noble gesture.
Gesture? Wasn't able to continue. I couldn't continue. I would have if I could have, but I make no gestures. I hope it's clear that this was not a gesture. Alice, you don't think I would have done this all to you if it were just a gesture? That's a gesture. That is a gesture. I'm not a street acrobat to make gestures. I'm just practical.
That was not practical. That was moral.
Moral. Yes, morality isn't practical. Morality is a gesture. That's what you think. A gesture that you learn in a book. And isn't it, Alice? Well, what about you, Meg?
It is for most of us, Father.
No. If you'll all plead humility, then you're cruel. I have a cruel family.
Yes, you can fit the cap on anyone you like. I know that well enough. If there is cruelty in this house, I know where to look for it. No, come on. Why, you'd walk on the bottom of the sea and think yourself a crab if he suggested it. And you! Why, you dance him to the tower. You dance him to the block like David on a harp, scattering hymn books in his path. Poor, silly man. Do you really think they'll leave you here to learn to fish?
They will if we govern our tongues. Now, I have a word to say on that. I have made no statement. I've resigned, that's all. On these matters, on the king's supremacy, on the divorce, which he'll now grant to himself, and then on the marriage, which he'll make. Have you heard me make any statement?
No, and if I am to lose my rank and fall to housekeeping, I want to know the reason, so make a statement now.
Oh, Alice, it's a point of law. You must trust me that in silence is my safety under the law. But that silence has to be absolute. It has to extend to you.
In short, you don't trust us.
A man would have to be blind not to trust you. Look. I am the Lord Chief Justice. I am Cromwell. I'm the king's head jailer. And I take your hand, and I place it on the blessed Bible, and I clamp it on the Holy Cross, and I say, "Woman, has your husband made any statement on these matters?" Now, on peril of your soul, remember, what is your answer?
No.
So it must remain. It's a lifeline, and one we won't have to use, but it's comforting to have. No. When they find that I'm silent, they'll like nothing better than to keep me silent.
Sir, the household is in the kitchen. They would like to know what's happened.
Oh. Yes, well, we'll have to talk to them. Alice, most of them will have to go, but not until we found places for all of them.
We can't find places for them all.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Tell them so.
God's death comes on us quickly.
Well, what about you, Matthew? There'll be a smaller household from now on, and for you, I suspect that means a smaller wage. Will you stay?
I don't suppose I could, sir.
You're a single man.
Yes, but I do have my own...
Yes. Why should you? I shall miss you, Matthew.
No. You've got no time for me, sir. You see right through me. I know that.
I shall miss you, Matthew. I shall miss you.
Now, damn it all, isn't them all over? He miss me? What's in me for him to miss? I nearly fell for it. Matthew, would you kindly take a cut in your wages? No, I will not, sir, and that's all of it. Oh, so he's down on his luck. I'm sorry. Bad luck. I don't mind saying it. Bad luck. If I had any good luck to spare, he could have it. I wish we all had good luck, all the time. I wish we had wings. I wish rainwater was beer. But it isn't. What with not having wings, but having 2 flat feet to walk on, and what with good luck and bad luck being exactly even Stevens, what with rain being water, don't complicate the job putting things in me for me to miss. I did, you know. I nearly fell for it.
But it makes no sense. He's silent. Why not leave him silent?
Not being a man of letters, Your Grace, you perhaps don't realize the extent of his reputation. This silence of his is bellowing up and down Europe. Now, may I recapitulate? He reported the Spaniards' conversation to you, informed on the Spaniards' tour of the North Country, warned against a possible rebellion there.
Did.
We may say, then, that he is hostile to the hopes of Spain.
That's what I say.
Bear with me, Your Grace. Now, if he's hostile to Spain, he supports us. Well, surely that follows. Unless you see some third alternative.
No. That's the lineup, all right. And I may say Sir Thomas More...
Sir Thomas More will line up on the right side.
Yes, crank he may be, traitor he is not.
And with a little pressure, he can be got to say so. And that's all we need. A brief declaration of his loyalty to the present administration.
I still say, let sleeping dogs lie.
The king does not agree with you.
Very well. What kind of pressure do you think you can bring to bear?
I have evidence that during the period of his judicature, Sir Thomas accepted bribes.
What? Bribes? God damn it. He was the only judge since Cato who did not accept bribes. What chancellor has there been whose possessions after 3 years totaled 100 pounds and a gold chain?
Richard, it is, as you imply, a common practice, but a practice may be common and still remain an offense. This offense could send a man to the tower.
I won't believe it.
Ah, Richard, you know his grace, of course.
Indeed, yes. We're old friends.
You used to look after my books or something, didn't you?
Come here. This woman's name is Catherine Onger. She comes from Lincoln, and she put a case in the Court of Requests in...
A property case, it was?
Be quiet! A property case in the Court of Requests in April 1526.
And got a wicked false judgment.
And got an impeccably correct judgment from our friend Sir Thomas.
No, sir, it was not.
We're not concerned with the judgment, but the gift you gave the judge. Tell this gentleman about that. The judgment, for what it's worth, was the correct one.
No, sir! I sent him a cup, sir. An Italian silver cup that I bought in Lincoln for 100 shillings.
Did Sir Thomas accept this cup?
I sent it.
He did accept it. We can corroborate that. You can go. Go!
Is that your witness?
No. By an odd coincidence, this cup later came into the hands of Master Rich here.
How?
He gave it to me.
Can you corroborate that?
I have a fellow outside who can. He was more steward at the time. Shall I call him?
Don't bother. I know him. When did Sir Thomas give you this thing?
I don't exactly remember.
Well, make an effort. Wait, I can tell you. It was that night. That night we were there together. You left with a cup. Was that it?
It may have been.
Did Sir Thomas often give you cups?
I don't suppose so, Your Grace.
That was it then. And it was April. The April of 26. In other words, the very same month that Cow put her case before him. The moment he knew it was a bribe, he got rid of it.
The facts will bear that interpretation, I suppose.
This is a horse that won't run.
Just a trial canter, Your Grace. We'll find something better.
I want no part in this.
You have no choice.
What's that you say?
The king particularly wishes you to be active in the matter.
He has not told me that.
Indeed, he told me.
Why?
We thought that you, having been known to be a friend of Moore's, your participation will show that there is nothing in the way of a persecution, only the strict processes of law, as you have just demonstrated. I'll tell the king of your loyalty to your friend. If you like, I'll tell him that you want no part of it, too.
Are you threatening me, Cromwell?
My dear Norfolk, this isn't Spain.
Secretary, I'm sorry. I forgot he was there that night.
You must try to remember these things.
Secretary, I'm sincerely...
Not such a fool as he looks, the Duke.
That would hardly be possible, Secretary.
Sir Thomas is going to be a slippery fish. We need a net with a finer mesh.
Yes, Secretary?
We'll weave one for him, shall we, you and I?
I'm only anxious to do what is correct, Secretary.
Yes, Richard, I know. You're absolutely right. It must be done by law. It's just a matter of finding the right law. Or making one. Bring my papers, will you?
Might we have a word now?
We don't require you after all, Matthew.
Not about that. I was mentioning the...
Oh, yes. Well, I begin to need a steward, certainly. My household is expanding. But, as I remember, Matthew, your attitude towards me was sometimes disrespectful.
Oh, no. I must contradict you there. That must have been your imagination. You see, in those days, you still had your way to make. Men in that state, they often imagine things. But now that you're in your proper state, you don't go around hearing people saying things that are disrespectful now, do you?
There may be something in that. Bring my papers. And Matthew, I'll permit no breath of insolence.
Oh, of course not, sir. I can handle that one. He's just my size. Thomas Moore's gone down a bit.
My husband will be coming down shortly, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Madame.
And I beg you be gone before he does.
Madame, I have a royal commission to perform.
Aye, you said so.
For sheer barbarity, commend me to a good-hearted English woman of a certain class.
It is very cold, Your Excellency.
I remember when these rooms were warm enough.
Thus it is to adore the enmity of a king.
A heretic king. Yes, Sir Thomas is a good man.
Yes, I like Sir Thomas very much.
Carefully.
It is uncomfortable dealing with him, is it not?
Goodness can be a difficulty.
Excellency.
In the long run, of course, all good men everywhere are allies of Spain. No good man cannot be, and no man who is not can be good.
Then he really is for us.
He is opposed to Cromwell, is he not?
Of that it is certain.
If he is opposed to Cromwell, then he is for us. There's no third alternative?
I can see no other, Your Excellency.
Oh, I wish your mother would have chosen some other career for you. You've no political sense whatever. Sir Thomas. Sir Thomas, in a better state, this threadbare stuff will metamorphose into shining garments. These dank walls into walls of pearl. This cold light to perpetual sunshine.
Sounds not unlike Madrid, Your Excellency.
Even in times like these, even now, a pleasure to converse with you.
Now, is this another personal visit, or is it official?
It falls between the two, Sir Thomas.
Official, then.
No, I have a personal letter for you.
From whom?
My master, the King of Spain. You will take it.
I will not lay a finger on it.
It is in no way an affair of state. It simply expresses my master's admiration for the stand which you and Bishop Fisher of Rochester have taken over the so-called divorce of Queen Catherine.
I take no stand.
But your views, Sir Thomas, are well known.
My views are much guessed at. Come, could you really convince King Henry that that letter is in no way an affair of state?
My dear Sir Thomas, I have taken extreme precautions. I came here very much incognito, very nearly in disguise.
You misunderstand me, Your Excellency. It's not a matter of your precautions, but of my duty, which in this case would be to take that letter directly to my king.
But Sir Thomas, your views
are well known, you say? It seems that my allegiance to the king is less known.
Render unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, but unto God.
Stop! Holy Writ is holy, Excellency.
Look, Father, Will's getting more.
Oh, wonderful. Is it dry? Oh, it is. Good. It's bracken, Your Excellency. We burn it. Oh, Alice. May I? See this? I want you to see that I have not opened this. It's a letter from the King of Spain. You see how the seal is still there? I've refused it. I wish I could offer, if you would like to stay for dinner. The bracken fire is a luxury.
One that I must forego. Come. May I say, I am sure my master's admiration will not be diminished. Ladies.
I am gratified.
The man's utterly unreliable.
Luxury.
Yes, well, it's a luxury as long as it lasts. Although, I suppose there's not a lot of sport in it for you. Alice, the money from the bishops, I can't accept it. Heavens, I wish I could, but I can't.
I didn't think you would.
Alice, there are reasons.
And we couldn't come so deep into your confidence as to know these reasons why a man in poverty can't accept 4,000 pounds?
This isn't poverty.
Do you know what we shall eat tonight?
Yes. Parsnips.
Parsnips and stinking mutton. For a knight's lady.
Yes, but, I mean, very worst, if we were to be beggars, we could still keep company and be merry together.
Merry.
Aye, Mary?
I think you should take that money.
You don't understand. If I receive payment for my writings...
This had nothing to do with your writings. This was charity, pure and simple, collected from the clergy both high and low.
It would appear as payment.
You're not a man who deals in appearances.
Oh, am I not? If the king takes this matter any further, with me or with the church, it will be very bad. If I even appear to have been paid for my writings. If you will, dangerous.
But you don't write against the king.
Well, I write, and that's bad enough at a time like this.
You said there was no danger.
I don't think that there is, but I don't want there to be.
Sir Thomas, there's a gentleman from Hampton Court. Your to answer for Secretary Cromwell, to answer certain charges.
Well, that's all right. We expected that. What time?
Now.
Oh.
No, Alice, that doesn't mean anything. It's just a technique. But I suppose now does mean now.
Can I come with you?
Why? No, I'll be home for dinner. I'll bring Secretary Cromwell to dinner, shall I? I'll serve him right.
Oh, Father, don't be witty.
Why? What's in question here?
While we are witty, the devil may enter us unawares.
The devil? He's not the devil, he's a lawyer. And my case is watertight.
They say he's a very penetrating lawyer.
Well, Cromwell? He's a pragmatist. And that's the only resemblance he has to the devil. A pragmatist. The merest plumber.
I'm sorry to invite you here on such short notice, Sir Thomas. Good of you to come. Will you take a seat? I believe you know Master Rich.
Yes, we're old friends. That's a nice gown you have on, Richard.
Master Rich will make a record of our conversation.
Very good of you to tell me, Master Secretary.
Sir Thomas, believe me. No, that's asking too much. But let me tell you all the same, you have no more sincere admirer than myself. Not yet, Rich.
Might I know the charges?
Charges?
I understand I am to face certain charges.
Certain Ambiguities of behavior, I should like to clarify. Hardly charges.
Make a note of that, will you, Richard? There are no charges.
Sir Thomas, you know, it amazes me that you, who were once so effective in the world and are now so much retired from it, should be opposing yourself to the whole movement of the times.
Yes, it amazes me too.
The king is not pleased with you.
I am grieved.
Yet do you know that even now, if you could bring yourself to agree with the universities, the bishops, the parliament in this realm, there is no honor which the king would be likely to deny you.
I am very well acquainted with His Majesty's generosity.
Very well. You have heard of the so-called Holy Maid of Kent, who was executed for prophesying against the king?
Yes, I knew the poor woman.
You sympathize with her.
She was misguided and ignorant and, frankly, a little mad. And she has paid for her folly. Naturally, I sympathize with her.
You admit meeting her. You met her. And you did not report to His Majesty of her treachery. How was that?
She spoke no treason. Our conversation wasn't political.
My dear Moore, the woman was notorious. Do you expect me to believe that?
Happily, there were witnesses.
You wrote a letter to her?
Yes, in which I advised her from meddling in affairs of princess and state. I have a copy of the letter. It's also witnessed.
You have been cautious.
I like to keep my affairs regular.
Sir Thomas, there is a more serious charge.
Charge?
For want of a better word. In the May of 1526, the king wrote a book, a theological work. It was titled, A Defense of the Seven Sacraments.
Yes, for which the king was given the title Defender of the Faith by His Holiness the Pope.
By the Bishop of Rome. Or do you insist on Pope?
Bishop of Rome is fine. It doesn't alter his authority.
Thank you. You come to the point quite readily. What exactly is that authority? As regards the church in Europe, for example, the church in England, what exactly is the Bishop of Rome's authority?
I think you'll find it very aptly set out and defended in the king's book.
The book published under the king's name would be more accurate. You wrote that book.
I wrote no part of it.
Do not mean you actually held the pen.
I merely answered a few small questions on canon law which His Majesty put to me, which I was bound to do.
Do you deny that you instigated it?
It was from first to last the king's own project. Come, Master Secretary, these matters are trivial.
I should not think so, if I were in your place.
Well, there are only two men who know the truth of it, myself and the king. And no matter what he has told you, he will not give evidence to support his accusation.
Why not?
Because evidence is given on oath, and he will not perjure himself. And if you do not know that, then you do not yet know him.
Sir Thomas, is there anything you wish to say to me concerning the king's marriage with Queen Anne?
I understood I was not to be asked that again.
Evidently, you understood wrongly. These charges, Sir Thomas,
are terrors for children, Master Secretary. An empty cupboard to terrify children during the night, not me.
True. True, Sir Thomas, very apt. To frighten a man, there must be something in the cupboard, must there not?
Yes. There is nothing in it.
For the moment, there is this. I charge you with great ingratitude. I remind you of benefits graciously given and ill received. I put to you that no king of England ever had, nor could have, so villainous a servant, nor so traitorous a subject as yourself. These words are not mine, Sir Thomas, but the king's. Believe that.
I do. I recognize his style. So, I am brought here at last.
Brought. You brought yourself to where you stand now.
Yes, but in another manner, I was brought.
Oh, yes. You can go. For the present. I don't like him so much as I did.
Do you still think you can frighten him?
Oh, yes.
What will you do?
We'll put something in the cupboard.
What?
Whatever's necessary. The king's a man of conscience, and he wants Sir Thomas More to either bless his marriage or Sir Thomas More destroyed.
They seem odd, alternative secretary.
Do they? That's because you're not a man of conscience. If the king destroys a man, that's proof to the king it must have been a bad man. The kind of man a man of conscience ought to destroy. And of course, a bad man's blessing's not worth having. So either will do.
I see.
Oh, there's no going back, Rich. I find we've made ourselves the keepers of this conscience. And it's ravenous.
Boat! Boatman! A boat! Oh, come now. It's really not as bad as that. Boat! Oh, Howard. I can't get home. They won't bring me a boat.
Can you blame them?
Is it really as bad as that?
It's every bit as bad as that.
And it's good of you to be seen with me.
I followed you.
And were you followed?
Probably. So listen to what I have to say. You're behaving like a fool. You're behaving like a crank. You're not behaving like a gentleman. All right. That means nothing to you. But what about your friends?
What about them?
You're dangerous to know!
Then don't know me.
There's something further. By now, you must have realized there's a certain policy with regards to you. The king is using me in it.
Oh, that's clever. Yes, that's Cromwell. So, you're caught between the upper and the lower millstone, right?
I am.
Howard, you must cease to know me.
I do know you.
I mean as a friend.
I am your friend.
Listen, I cannot relieve you of your obedience to the king. You have to relieve yourself of your friendship to me.
You might as well advise a man to change the color of his hair. I can't.
Well, what's to be done then?
Give in.
I can't. You might as well advise a man to change the color of his eyes. I can't. Our friendship's more mutable than that.
Oh, that's mutable, is it? The one fixed point in a world of changing friendships is that Sir Thomas More will not give in.
For me, it has to be. Look, affection goes as deep in me as it does in you, I think. But only God is love right through, and that's myself.
And who are you? God damn it, it's disproportionate. We're supposed to be the proud ones, the arrogant ones, the splenic ones, and we've all given in. Why must you stand out? You'll break my heart.
And we'll do it now. We'll part as friends and meet as strangers.
Daft Thomas, why do you want to take your friendship away from me? For friendship's sake? You say we'll part as friends, meet as strangers. When every word you've said confirms our friendship?
That can be remedied. Norfolk, you're a fool.
You can't place a quarrel. You haven't the style.
Hear me out. You and your class, as you rightly call it, have all given in because the religion of this country means nothing to you one way or the other.
That's a foolish saying for a start. The nobility of England...
The nobility of England would have snored through the Sermon on the Mount, but you'll quibble like Thomas Aquinas over a rat dog's pedigree. What's the name of those distorted animals you're all breeding at the moment?
An artificial quarrel is not a quarrel.
Our quarrel's real enough. We've had a quarrel since the day we met. Our friendship was but sloth.
You can be cruel when you've a mind to be, but I've always known that.
Come now, what's the name of those dogs? Marsh mastiffs, bog beagles...
Water spaniels!
And if a spaniel was afraid of water, what would you do? You'd hang it. Well, as a spaniel is to water, so's a man to his own self. I will not give in because I oppose it. I do. I, not my pride, not my spleen, I do. Come now. There must be some sinew in all this mass that doesn't just serve an appetite of Norfolk, but just is Norfolk. Come, there it is. Let's give that some exercise, shall we?
Thomas.
Because if you don't, you'll go before your creator in very ill condition.
Now, steady, Thomas.
And he'll have to think that somewhere back on your pedigree, a bitch got over the wall.
Father! Father! What was that?
That was Norfolk.
Do you know, sir? Have you heard? Have you told him?
Father, we've been looking for you.
There's to be a new act through Parliament.
An act?
It's about the marriage.
Oh,
Father, by this act, they're going to administer an oath.
an oath? On what compulsion?
It's expected to be treason.
Well, what's the oath?
It's about the marriage.
Yes, but what's the wording?
It doesn't matter what the wording is. We know what it will mean.
It will mean what the words say. An oath is made of words. It might be possible to take it or avoid it. Do we have a copy of the bill?
There's one coming out from the city.
Okay, let's... I have no boat.
Father, he tried to hit you.
Yes, well, I spoke slightingly of water spaniels. Come, let's get home.
But, sir...
Listen here, Will. And you too, Margaret. You know that I know you well. God, he made the angels to show him their splendor, just as he made animals to show him innocence and plants for their simplicity. But man, he made to serve him wittingly in the tangle of his mind. And if God suffers us to come to such a case that there is no escaping, well then, we may stand to our tackle a little. And then, yes, Will, we may clamor like champions, if we have the spittle for it. And God must find such delight in seeing splendor when he only expected complexity. But it's his part, not ours, about whether or not to bring us to such an extremity. Our natural business lies in escaping. So, let's get home, and let's look at this bill.
Oh, look. I don't suppose he enjoyed that much more than anybody else did. Not much more. Pay scale being what it is, I had to take a rather common type of man into the prison service. But it's a job like any other job. Bit nearer the knuckle than most, but it's a job. They'd let him out if they could, but for various reasons they can't. I'd let him out if I could, but for various reasons I can't. Not without taking up residence in there myself. And he's already in there, so what's the point? You know the old adage. Better a live rat than a dead lion. With reference to the old adage, Thomas Cromwell was found guilty of high treason and executed on July 28, 1540. Norfolk was found guilty of high treason and should have been executed on January 27, 1547, but on the night of the 26th of January, the king died of syphilis and wasn't able to sign the warrant. Thomas Cranmer, the Archbishop of Canterbury, that's the other one, was burned alive on March 21st, 1556. Oh, and Richard Rich became a knight, a solicitor general, a baron, and a lord chancellor, and died in his bed. So did I. And so I hope will all of you. Wake up, Sir Thomas!
What? Again? What time is it?
1 o'clock, sir.
This is iniquitous.
Sir?
Who's there?
The Duke Norfolk, Mr. Cromwell, and the Archbishop.
Well, I'm flattered.
A seat for the prisoner. This is the 7th commission appointed by his King's Council to inquire into the case of Sir Thomas More. Have you anything to say?
No. Thank you.
Mr. Secretary?
Sir Thomas, do the witnesses attend?
Secretary.
Jailer, come where you can hear. Sir Thomas, have you seen this document before?
Yes.
It is the Act of Succession. These are the names of those who have sworn to it.
I have, as you say, seen it many times.
Will you swear to it?
No.
Thomas, we must know plainly.
Your Grace, please!
Master Cromwell.
I beg your Grace's pardon.
Thomas, we must know plainly whether you recognize the offspring of Queen Anne as heirs to His Majesty's throne.
The King in Parliament tells me that they are. Of course I recognize them.
Will you swear that you do?
Yes.
Then why will you not swear to the act?
Because there is more than that in the Act.
Is that it?
Yes.
Then we must know what his objections are.
Brilliant! God's wounds! Your Grace, may I try?
Certainly. I've no pretension to be an expert in police work.
Sir Thomas, it states in the preamble that the king's former marriage to the Lady Catherine was unlawful, she being previously his brother's wife, and the, Pope having no authority to sanction it. Is that what you deny? Is that what you dispute? Is that what you are unsure of?
Thomas, you insult the King's Majesty in the person of the Archbishop.
I insult no one. I will not take the oath. I will not tell you why I will not take the oath.
Then your reasons must be treasonous.
Not must be, maybe.
It's a fair assumption.
Yes, but the law requires more than an assumption. The law requires a fact.
I cannot judge your legal standing in this case, but until I know the grounds of your objection, I can only guess your spiritual standing too.
Yes, well, if you can guess my spiritual standing, it should be little effort for you to guess my objections.
You do have objections to the act, then?
Well, we know that, Cromwell.
No, you don't know that. You may suppose I have objections. All you know is that I will not take the oath, for sheer delight in vexing you, it could be.
Is it material why you won't?
It's most material. For refusing the oath, I have had all of my material goods taken away, and I have been thrown in jail, for which, under the law, you cannot harm me further. But If you were right in supposing me to have objections, and right further in supposing those objections to be treasonable, the law would let you cut my head off.
Oh. Yes.
Oh, well done, Sir Thomas. I've been trying to make that clear to His Grace for some time.
Confound all this! I'm not a scholar, as Master Cromwell never tires of pointing out. And frankly, I don't know whether the marriage was lawful or not. But damn it, Thomas, look at those names! You know those men. Can't you do what I did and come with us for friendship's sake?
And when we die, you are sent to paradise for doing your conscience, and I to hell for doing mine, will you come with me for friendship's sake?
So, those of us whose names are there are damned, Sir Thomas?
I have no window to look into another man's soul. I condemn no one.
But the matter is capable of question.
Well, certainly.
But that you owe obedience to your king is not capable of question. So, weigh a doubt against a certainty, and sign.
You know, some men think that the earth is flat. Others, they think it's round. But if the earth is flat, will the king's command make it round? And if it's round, will the king's command flatten it? No, I will not sign.
Then you have more regard to your own doubt than you have to his command.
For myself, I have no doubt.
No doubt of what?
No doubt for my reasons not for signing. Reasons I will tell the king alone, and reasons, Master Secretary, that you will not trick out of me.
Thomas.
Look, gentlemen, can't I go to bed?
You don't seem to appreciate the seriousness of your position.
I don't appreciate it. I defy any man to live a year in that cell and not appreciate the seriousness of his condition.
Yet the state has harsher punishments.
You threaten like a dockside bully.
How should I threaten?
Like a minister of state. With justice.
Oh, justice is what you're threatened with!
Then I am not threatened.
Master Cromwell, I believe the prisoner may retire, unless you, my lord.
No, I see no purpose in prolonging the interview.
Then good night, Thomas.
May I have one or two more books?
You have books?
Yes.
I didn't know. You shouldn't have.
May I see my family?
No! Jailer, have you ever heard the prisoner speak of the king's divorce, or the king's supremacy of the church, or the king's marriage?
No, sir.
If he does, you will of course report it to the lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
You will swear an oath to that effect.
Of course, sir.
Archbishop. Place your left hand on this, and raise your right hand. Take your hat off. Now, say after me. I swear by my immortal soul.
I swear by my immortal soul.
That I will report truly.
That I will report truly.
Anything said by Sir Thomas.
Anything said by Sir Thomas.
Against the king.
Against the king.
The council.
The council.
Or the state of the realm.
Or the state of the realm.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Amen.
Amen.
And there's 50 guineas in it if you do. That's not to tempt you into perjury, my man.
$50 guineas isn't tempting. 50 guineas is alarming. If they just left it at swearing, it'd be worth more than my neck presently. I want no part in it. They can deal with all this themselves. I begin to feel my deafness coming on.
Rich.
Secretary.
Tomorrow morning, remove the prisoner's books.
Is that necessary?
With regards to this case, the king is becoming impatient.
Aye, with you.
With all of us! You know the king's impatience, how commodious it is.
Secretary.
Yes?
Sir Redvers Llewellyn is retiring. You said I might approach him.
Oh, not now! He must submit. The alternatives are bad. As long as Moore's alive, the king's conscience breaks into fresh, stinking flowers every time he gets from bed. And if I bring about Moore's death, I plant my own, I think. There's no other good solution! He must submit! No. No, the king will not permit it. We have to find some gentler way.
Wake up, Sir Thomas. Your family's here.
Margaret? Margaret, they let you come see me? No, they didn't put you in here, did they?
No, no, sir. Just a short visit.
Oh, jailer, get me out of here.
Yes, yes, I'm allowed to let you out.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Father.
Good morning. Oh, good morning, Margaret. Good morning, Alice. Oh, good morning, Will. Good morning, good morning.
Husband, how do you do?
Oh, well, better now. Very well now. How about you, Will?
This is an awful place.
Well, it's not so bad, excepting that it's keeping me from you, my dears. It's remarkably like any other place.
It drips.
Well, it's too close to the river.
We brought you some things. Some cheese.
Cheese?
And a custard.
Ah, custard?
Some other things.
And wine.
Oh. Is it any good, Will?
I don't know.
Well.
Sir, come out. Swear to the act and come out.
Is this why they've let you come see me?
Yes. Meg's under oath to persuade you.
That was silly, Meg.
I wanted to.
You want me to swear to the act of succession?
God more regards the thoughts of the heart than the words of the mouth, or so you've always told me.
Yes.
Then say the words of the oath, and in your heart think otherwise.
But Meg, what is an oath except words that we say to God?
That's neat.
Do you mean it isn't true?
No, it's true.
Well, then it's a very poor argument to say that it's neat. Look, Meg, when a man takes an oath, he takes himself and holds himself in his hands, like water. And if he opens his fingers then, well, he shouldn't hope to find himself if you look. Some men aren't capable of this, but I'd be loath to think that your father was one of them.
In any state that was half good, you'd be raised up high, not here for what you've done already. It's not your state, it's not your fault this state is 3/4 bad. Then, if you elect to suffer for it, you elect yourself a hero.
That's very neat. But Meg, if we lived in a state where virtue is profitable, common sense would make us good, and greed would make us saintly, and we could all live as animals or angels in this happy land that needed no heroes. But since we see that far too often pride, anger, avarice, lust, sloth, greed, and stupidity profit a man far more than humility, generosity, charity, and thought. Well then, to be human at all, we have to stand fast a little, even at the expense of becoming heroes.
But in reason, haven't you done as much as God can reasonably want?
Well, at the end of it all, it's not really a matter of reason. It's a matter of love.
You're content then? To stay here among mice and rats when you might be at home with us?
Content? Alice, if they opened a crack that wide, I'd be through it in an instant. Well, has Eve run out of apples?
I haven't told you what the house is like. What
Don't.
we do in the evenings now that you're not there.
Meg, have done.
We sit in the dark because we've no candles. And we've no talk because we're all wondering what they're doing to you here.
You know, the king isn't as cruel as you. He doesn't use the rack.
2 minutes left, Sir Thomas.
2 minutes?
Till 7 o'clock. 2 minutes, sir.
Jailer! Will, you have to go to him and you have to keep him occupied.
How?
Do you have money?
Yes.
Don't bribe him. Just let him play for it. He has a pair of dice. And take this. Don't do it poorly. You must do it well and share it with him. Do you understand? Go. All of you must leave the country. You must.
And leave you here?
It doesn't matter. They'll not let me see you again. You all have to leave. On different boats. Different ports from different boats on the same day.
After the trial.
There'll be no trial. They don't have any case. Listen, you must do this. Please, promise me.
Yes.
Alice. Alice, I command you.
Right.
This is splendid. I know who packed this.
I packed it.
Yes. You know, you still make a superlative custard, Alice.
Do I?
That's a nice dress you have on.
It's my cooking dress.
Still, it's nice all the same. It's a nice color.
My God, you think very little of me. I know I'm a fool, but I'm no such fool at a time like this to be lamenting after my dresses or relishing compliments on my custard.
I am well rebuked. Alice, I'm faint to think of the very worst that they could do to me in here, but not so faint as when I think about going without you understanding why I go.
I don't.
Alice, if you told me that you understand, I think I could make a good death if I have to.
Your death is no good to me.
Alice, you must say that you understand.
I don't. I don't think this had to happen.
Alice, I don't see how I am to face it if you say that.
It's the truth.
Well, you're an honest woman.
And much good may it do me. I'll tell you what I'm afraid of. That when you've gone, I shall hate you for it.
Well, Alice, you really mustn't say that. You mustn't.
As far as understanding goes, I understand that you are the best man I've ever met, or am likely to. If you go, God knows why, I suppose, though God's my witness, God's kept deadly quiet about it. And if anyone wants to know my opinion on the king or his council, they have only to ask for it.
Oh, it's a lion I married. A lion, a lion. And say what you like, but this custard is very good. Oh, it's very good.
I know what you're trying to do, sir, and it can't be done. Another minute, man! Don't do that. I'm sorry, time is up. For pity's sake. So, Thomas, the ladies will have to go.
You said 7 o'clock.
It's 7 o'clock now.
One more minute, man.
Only a little while. Give us a little while.
Oh, miss, you don't want to get me into trouble.
Do as you're told, be off.
Oh, miss, you're going to get your father into trouble as well as I. Are you obstructing me, sir? Now, my lady, no trouble.
Get your muddy hands off her!
Magical the god, then! Come on!
For heaven's sake, man! Can't you see that we're trying to
You
say
don't know
goodbye?
what you're asking for. You don't know how you're being watched.
Why you filthy, stinking, gutter-bred dirt!
Call me what you like, man, but you have to go!
I'll see you suffer for this!
You're doing your husband no good.
Alice! Goodbye, my love.
I'm sorry, sir, but you must understand my position. I'm just a plain and simple man. I want no trouble.
Sweet Jesus, save me from these plain, simple men!
What Englishmen can behold without awe the canvas and the rigging of the law, forbidding here the galley master's whip, hearts of oak in the law's great ship? What are you doing?
I've just finished, sir.
You're the foreman of the jury.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
You are John Dauncey, a general dealer,
Yes?
foreman of the jury. Does the cap fit?
Yes, sir.
So now, we'll apply the good plain sailor's art and fix these quicksands on the law's plain chart.
Prisoner at the bar, you have been summoned here before us at Westminster Hall to answer to charge of high treason. Nevertheless, though you have heinously offended his King's Majesty, we hope you will repent of your obstinate opinions, for you may still taste his gracious pardon.
My lords, I thank you. Howbeit, I pray to Almighty God that He keep me in this my honest mind until the last moment of my life. As for these matters that you have charged me with, I fear for my present condition that neither my wit nor my memory will serve to make sufficient response, but I should be glad to sit down.
Be seated. Master Secretary, have you the charge?
I have, my lord.
Then read the charge.
That you didst conspire traitorously and villainously to deny and deprive our liege Lord Henry of his undoubted certain title, Supreme Head of the Church in England.
But I have never denied it.
You refused the oath tendered to you at the Tower and elsewhere.
Silence is not denial. For my silence I am confined to imprisonment. Why have I been called here again?
On charge of high treason, Thomas.
For which the punishment is not imprisonment.
Death comes for us all. Yes, even for kings he comes. And for all their royalty and brute strength, he will neither kneel nor make any gesture. And nor will he call them courteously to come forth, but will roughly grasp them by the breast and rattle them until they be stark dead, sending their bodies to a pit and their souls to a judgment, whereof at the end of their lives their success is uncertain.
Treason enough here!
The death of kings is not in question, Thomas.
Nor is mine, I hope, until I've been found guilty.
Your life lies in your own hands, as it always has.
And for our debts, yours and mine, my lord, should we, for shame, presume to enter into the kingdom with ease when our Savior entered it with so much suffering?
Now, Sir Thomas, you stand upon your silence?
I do.
But, gentlemen of the jury, there are many kinds of silence. Consider first the silence of a man when he is dead. Let us say we go into the room where he is lying, and let us say it is in the dead of night. There's nothing like darkness for sharpening the ear. And we listen. What do we hear? Silence. What does it betoken, this silence? Nothing. This is silence, pure and simple. But I will put to you another case. Suppose I were to draw a dagger from my sleeve here and make to kill the prisoner with it. And suppose their lordships there, instead of calling out for me to stop or crying out for help to stop me, maintain their silence. That would betoken. It would betoken a willingness that I should do it. And under the law, they would be guilty with me. So silence can, according to circumstance, speak. Consider now the circumstances of the prisoner's silence. The oath was put to good and faithful subjects up and down the country who declared his grace's title to be just and good. And when it came to the prisoner, he refused. But is there a man in this court, is there a man in this country who does not know Sir Thomas More's opinion of the king's title? Of course not! But how can that be? Because this silence betokened, nay, this silence was not silence at all, but most eloquent denial.
Not so. The maxim is qui tacit consentire. The maxim of the law is silence gives consent. Therefore, if you wish to construe what my silence betokened, you must construe that I consented to the title, not that I denied it.
Is that what the world, in fact, construes from it? Do you pretend that is what you wish the world to construe from it?
The world may construe according to its wits. This court must construe according to the law.
I put it to the court The prisoner is perverting the law, making smoky what should be a clear light to discover to the court his own wrongdoing.
The law is not a light for you or any other man to see by. The law is not an instrument. The law is a causeway, whereby if a good citizen keep his feet, he may walk safely. In the matters of conscience...
Conscience. The conscience.
The word is unfamiliar to you?
By God, too familiar! I am very used to hear it in the mouths of criminals!
And I am used to hearing evil men misuse the name of God. But God exists, Master Secretary. In matters of conscience, the loyal subject is beholden to his own conscience before anything else.
And so provide a noble motive for his own frivolous self-conceit.
Not so. Very and sure respect for the security of my own soul.
Your own self, you mean?
A man's soul is his self.
A miserable thing, whatever you call it, that hangs like a bat in a Sunday school. A shrill, incessant pedagogue about its own salvation, but nothing to say of your place in the state, under the king, in a great native country.
Can I say good to the state's sickness? Will I help my king by feeding him lies when he asks for truth? Will you help England by populating her with liars?
My lords, I wish to call Sir Richard Rich. Sir Richard,
I do solemnly swear that the evidence I shall give before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
So help me God, Sir Richard?
So help me God.
Take your stand there, Sir Richard.
Now, Rich, on the 12th of March, you were at the tower.
I was.
With what purpose?
I was sent to carry away the prisoner's books.
Did you speak with the prisoner?
I did.
Did you talk about the king's supremacy of the church to the prisoner?
Yes.
What did you say?
I said, supposing there was an act of parliament to say that I, Richard Rich, should be king, would not you then, Master Moore, take me for king? That I would, he said, for then you would be king.
Yes.
Then he said,
the prisoner?
Yes, my lord. But I will put to you a higher case, he said. How if there were an act of parliament to say that God should no longer be God?
This is true, and then you said...
Silence! Continue.
And I said, but I will put to you a middle case. Parliament has made our king head of the church in England. Why will you not accept him?
Well?
Then he said, Parliament had no power to do it.
Repeat the prisoner's words.
He said, Parliament has not the competence, or words to that effect.
He denied the title.
He did.
Richard, in good faith, I am sorrier for your perjury than I am for my own peril.
Do you deny this?
Yes! My lords, if I were a man who heeded not the taking of an oath, then I would not be here. But now I will take an oath. If what he says is true, I pray that I may never see God in the face, which I would not say were it otherwise for anything on this earth.
That is not evidence.
Is it probable? Is it probable that after so long a silence, on this the very point for which I have been so urgently sought, that I would open my mind to such a man as that.
Do you wish to modify your testimony?
No, Secretary.
But there were two other men there, Southwell and Palmer.
Unfortunately, Sir Richard Southwell and Master Palmer are both in Ireland on the king's business. It has no bearing. I have their deposition here, in which the court will see they state that being busy with the prisoner's books, they did not hear what was said.
Is it not obvious that if I had said that, he would have immediately called these men to give evidence?
Sir Richard, have you anything to add?
Nothing, Mr. Secretary.
Sir Thomas?
To what purpose? I am a dead man. You have your wish of me. It is not for my actions for which I was hunted, but for the thoughts of my own heart. You open a dangerous road, Secretary. First, men will open their hearts, and then presently they will have no hearts at all. God help the men whose statesmen walk along your road.
Then the witness may withdraw.
I have one question for the witness. That's a chain of office you're wearing, Richard. May I see it? It's a red dragon. What is this?
Sir Richard has been appointed Attorney General for Wales.
Why, Richard, it profits a man nothing if he should lose his soul for the whole world. But for Wales...
Now, I must ask the court's indulgence. I have an urgent message from the king for the prisoner. Sir Thomas, I am empowered to tell you that even now...
No, it cannot be.
The case rests.
The jury will retire to consider the evidence.
Considering the evidence, it shouldn't be necessary that they retire. Is it necessary?
No, sir.
Then, is he guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, my lord.
Prisoner at the bar, you have been found guilty on a charge of high treason. The sentence of the court...
My lord, when I was practicing law, it was the custom to ask the prisoner if they had something to say before pronouncing sentence.
Have you anything to say?
Yes. To avoid this, I have taken every path that my winding wit could show. But seeing as how the court has condemned me, God knoweth how, I will now speak concerning the indictment and the king's title. The indictment was grounded in an act of Parliament which is directly repugnant to the law of God. The king, in Parliament, cannot bestow the supremacy of the church on any man because it is a spiritual supremacy. And more to this, the immunity of the church is promised both in Magna Carta and in the king's own coronation oath.
Now we plainly see that you are malicious!
It's not so. I pray for the king and the realm every day. I do none harm. I say none harm, and I think none harm. And if this be not enough to keep a man alive, then in good faith, I long not to live. Many times, since coming to prison, I have been in such a state that I thought that I should die within the hour, and I thank God that I was never sorry for it, but rather sorry when it passed. But now my poor body is at the king's disposal. And would my death do him some good right now? But, nevertheless, it is not for his supremacy for which you have sought my blood, but because I would not bend to his marriage.
Prisoner at the bar, you have been found guilty on charge of high treason. The sentence of the court is that you will be taken from the court to the tower, and from thence to the place of execution, where your head will be stricken from your body, and may God have mercy on your soul. I can come no further. Drink this.
My master had easel and gall, not wine, before his death. I pray you have done. Calm yourself, Meg. Death comes for us all. Yes, even from our births he comes, and well, he stands aside and muses to himself day after day if this day or the next he will draw nigh. You have long known the secrets of my heart.
Sir Thomas! Remember me, Sir Thomas? When you were Chancellor, you gave a false judgment against me. Remember that now.
Woman, you see how I am occupied. And I remember your case well. If I were called to give the judgment again, I would not change what I said. You had no injury, so content yourself and be done. Bother me not. I pray you, please go back. Rise up, friend. You send me to God. Do not be ashamed of your office.
You're very sure of that, Sir Thomas.
You will not refuse someone who is so blithe to go to him.
I'm breathing. Are you? It's nice, isn't it? It's easy to stay alive, my friends. Just don't go getting yourselves into trouble. Or if you do, make it the sort of trouble that's expected. But I don't need to tell you that. Well, if perhaps we meet each other in the streets, remember me. Rose Grimm for costumes. Second of all, thank you to Feeny Sedler for the curtain. Third, thank you to Gianna Huckins for lighting. Fourth, thank you to Jacob Gates in the sound booth.